That was a long day. Hi, I'm Fen. I'm doing a deck tech for my fucking 7th place, Shine list that, unlike some of them, does actually have some tech in it. I'm a little extremely happy that I get to be the one to show off this tech, because, Eggman didn't talk about it in, his video. But yeah, hi, I'm Fen. I'm to my knowledge, one of the only judges for Digimon here in Colorado. And I just somehow took 7th at that Top Cut Regional. Holy crap. I'm literally the last member of my team to do this. Well, to get my buys. But still, I would very much like to show you my, I'm gonna call it mildly spicy, mildly techy, Shine Grey list, because I'm a monster and I'm running the red base because I don't want to run the yellow base. I will never, ever argue that the yellow base will definitely be better in BT14, assuming that this deck doesn't get utterly wrecked tomorrow. Which honks, because the BT14 Koro would actually work, frankly, better than the BT5, but hey, I think the card draw is just too important to pass up, because this deck doesn't have card draw, so it needs it. Next little bit, obviously, it's Shine Grey. Like, we're all running 4 of BT12 Agumon because he's the best searcher that we have. There's literally no reason not to. It's the best searcher we have, and as with all of the Agus that this deck runs, the one-cost potential evolution is arguably one of the best plays that you can do in the mirror. And frankly, the way I pick decks lately has been, do I like the mirror? And I freaking love the Shine mirror. It's so much fun. I know my ratio is a little weird on EX4s to BT13s. It's mostly because I'm utterly indecisive. I think that the memory gain off of EX4 Agumon is really good and enables plays like pushing out Agu when you have both Marcuses on board to gain 1, then immediately pay it, so you go start at 3, go up to 4, go back down to 3, enabling you to still play a BT13 Agu to turn the memory setter into a body if you need it. I think it's just too useful for that. And the card draw is just so good. The BT13 Agu, I keep waffling back and forth on whether or not I actually want a 4th one, but the ability to just turn any Marcus that isn't functionally summoning sick into your win condition, he's a hybrid. He's a hybrid, he's our Blitz Omni, like, he's good. And frankly, the eat a level 3, especially because, notably, unlike the DP reduction, the BT13 just remove a level 3 is an optional effect, so you don't burn it if there are no targets at the time that the first time you activate it. Meanwhile, BT12 Agu and Geo Grey run with the downside of you have to do the DP reduction even if there's no legal targets. So they just get wasted. It's a corner case, but it comes up personally a lot. So, then we finally get to where I'm actually running tech, because I don't know why no one runs Biomon. BT11 Biomon is amazing. Like, yellow is accepted. Yeah, they run Kudamon. Biomon does the exact same search as Kudamon in red, so yeah, you miss Ruin mode. That's actually pretty much it, because it's not red. But it hits everything else in the deck. It's still a 3-card search like Agu X, and you get to take a Digimon and a Tamer. Also, quite frankly, the on-deletion effect for it in the Inheritable is, again, amazing in the mirror, because none of the DP reduction effects are optional. So if you can get a Geo Grey on top of your Bio, a lot of times I ran into mirror opponents, not necessarily at this event, but in general, who realize that they have to DP reduce this stupid ShineGreymon that's sitting on the board, and then suddenly I get pushed over to 1 memory. They may get to finish their attack, but that doesn't mean that I'm dead. It means, cool, now it's my turn, and you're probably not prepared for the crackback because you forgot about this weird inheritable. The downside, obviously, is that Agu X, technically, you get to do the Evo to get card draw, but even then, it's a 3-card search. He bottom decks all of your Tamers. The only things he can grab are your Greymons. Biomon can grab your Agus, because all she cares about is it red and does it have vaccine? So she's great for, no, I need another Agu to make this work. And if you already have BT12 Marcus online and have a BO out, you don't even have to worry that much about you always have to pay 3 to Evo into her, into any of your Geo Greys, because Marcus doesn't care what the base he's evolving is. If the conditions are met so that he can be a Digimon and swings, he can evolve anything into a legal evolution target, provided the thing that it's evolving into is a yellow Greymon. So all of the yellow Geo Greymons can go onto the BO with Marcus for free. I love it. It's so good. Just, yeah. Then, obviously, again, these are the parts where there's not that much spice, because it's BT13 Geo Grey. We're all running absurd numbers of it, because if there's a Marcus insecurity, we want it back. And we know if there's going to be a Marcus insecurity 9 times out of 10. This one I actually wish I had fixed, and I meant to fix it before we started, but oh well. I only have 3 of BT12 Geo Grey and 3 of EX4. I meant to do 4 and 2. Just, he has the exact same effects as EX4 Agu, and they're not as useful on a level 4. Meanwhile, getting this Geo Grey earlier is just a better chance of, you know, getting a free Marcus early, and I'd rather have that, but that was my screw up for not fixing it. He still comes in clutch a lot, and like I said with the Agus, where one of the best turn 1 plays in the mirror match is to go, no, I'm going to pay the 1 to Evo into the Agu to memory screw someone. The same thing works with going into any of the Geo Greys, either in raising or in the field, paying 3 to memory screw. At least one of my games, especially against, oh, who was it? I think it was the Bloom Lord player. I played round 8. I did a lot of that because I needed to keep them off of memory. Oh, actually, it was also Sean in round 9, my final round against the Mervaloop player who took 10th, which we drew, but part of the only way that we drew was that I kept setting him to 1 by doing stuff like that to prevent him from having enough memory to just go off. Once again, we're still pretty bog standard for most of the level 5s, because it's 4 of BT13 Rize, 3 of BT12, and 1 of Rize X. I wish I liked Rize Grey BT12 better. The memory gain is helpful, but I don't personally think it comes up enough. But I don't want to do Rize X onto a Geo Grey, because the DP reduction portion of his effect is what saves me a lot, personally. Here's where my ratio does get a little weird again, because I am only running 3 of BT12 Shine Grey. While he's definitely I wouldn't say he's the win condition, because a lot of people would argue that burst mode is the win condition. I think this Shine is what 9 times out of 10 is winning you the game, but he only works best if you can get into him with a Marcus swinging, so that you can kill something, buff Marcus, and make sure that Marcus is swinging at a weakened security. And that just means that, as with so many other things in this deck, if you don't win that turn, you're in trouble. So personally, that's why I'm at, I don't like BT2 Shine, but that's why I'm at 2 of BT13 Shine, because a lot of people, especially again in the mirror match, will legitimately forget that the DP reduction is an all turns effect. So if you swing in with a Marcus, especially a memory setter Marcus, who goes to security on death, they have to swing in, bring it back out, and they're probably not thinking about the fact that, oh, when this Marcus enters play, something's getting -9. That's bad. And I'm gaining memory. And yeah. It's remarkably solid, and I think it gets undervalued because it feels innately more defensive. But the important part is it turns one of your Marcuses who doesn't natively turn into a body for free. So... Plus, he even just turns your BT12 Marcus to pop something that's 6k, or, depending on your stack, much larger things. Again, not terribly different. I've got the 2 burst modes. I have no idea what on earth I'd cut to run a third, but I want to have a third. I just see them so inconsistently, or they're grouped up, but that's mostly just my weird kind of bad luck. I have 1 ruin mode, which... Look, I like Ruin Mode. Ruin Mode is, once again, amazing in the mirror because unless they already have BT12 Shine Gray online, it means they cannot turn Marcus into a body. It shuts down most of what Hunters is doing. Doesn't do really anything to Royal Knights, unless they somehow fail to go off on their Omni turn, but I actually didn't see any Royal Knights this game. This got me my 1 win against Sean, the Merva player again. It came up in at least one other match, and I'm trying to remember what it was. It might have been... I don't think it came up in my Crossheart match. It came up somewhere else. I will have the full... I streamed my entire run. Turns out YouTube doesn't love when you're trying to upload I don't even know how long this video is, like 11-hour stream, so it has 4 hours more processing to do before it's available at time of recording, so maybe it'll be closer to done by the time folks see this. I don't think this part matters that much, because I've got 4 of each of the Marcuses, because of freaking course I do. Surprisingly, there are 4 cards left in deck. Also, no, my nails were not intentionally picked to match my sleeves. That was just a happy accident. I think 2 of them are going to be obvious because they're red mem boosts. Because no, I am not running any TKs because BO cannot grab TK because it needs to be a red tamer. So, 2 red mem boosts. I don't love them personally. The biggest thing for me is almost always that I'm either using them to memory screw, using them to make sure that I have memory for the next turn, or I'm just desperately digging for a rookie since we have no protection and no card draw. So 9 times out of 10, I'm actually really happy to see them out of security because, weirdly enough, it makes it so that opponents' Digimon don't die during their turn when they're hoping that they do, and it means I have a little bit more direct control, and it means next turn I now will have a 2 extra memory buffer without needing to do anything for it. These next 2 are a little different because there's a card I'm not running, and I'm not running it both because I don't like it, and because people assume that I am running it, so they'll play around me having it, or it potentially being in security. And this is one of the things where these other 2 cards that I'm running instead, I run because if someone sees one of them, they now have to live in concern that there's a second one. With Sunrise Buster, that's never a concern since it's a restricted card. Admittedly, now that I've said that and shown this, we'll see. We'll see. I still think it's part of the mind game of, they had one, why would they not be running another? Namely, I'm running one copy of Final Shining Burst for 2 reasons. One, because most of the time it's actually 7 memory for kill something that is 15k or less. or kill something that's 12k and something that's 3k or less. Because play out of Marcus, obviously. The other reason is this is one of the only DP reductions potentially runnable in this deck that lasts until the end of opponent's turn. So it works to screw with Belphemon, which comes up for me a lot. In fact, I believe it was the only reason that at the in-person in Gen Con, I managed to eke out a win against a Belphemon. Yeah, Sunrise Buster is only, to me, particularly useful when either you're running things that aren't Marcus's, which I'm not running any TKs because Biomon kind of precludes running TKs because she's bringing me more synergy than Agu X is, or would be. Why would I break that synergy? And it's just, it lasts until end of opponent's turn instead of just this turn. And again, unlike Sunrise Buster, if one of these comes out of security or I have to play it, the opponent now knows that I have one of them, and that still means that they're wondering, have I just not seen the Sunrise Buster, or is there going to be another Final Shining Burst? Because out of security, it does the exact same thing of give something minus 12k and play a Marcus from hand. The last one, this card has seen play in other Shine lists. This one, I have not seen in a single topping Shine list personally, and I'm very, very perplexed by that. Because it's Heaven's Judgment, and I don't know why folks aren't running this, especially in Shine. So for 7, you give something your opponent controls minus 6k, and then you repeat that effect for each color of Digimon you have. So provided I have a Digimon on the field that isn't Biomon, I am getting to do minus 18, either split between 3 different sources, or hit one thing for a big minus 18 if I really need to remove, like, a Quartzmon, or it's mostly just Quartzmon, or I can do minus 12 to one thing and minus 6 to another. Like, it's just so versatile, and I don't understand why no one else is using it. Out of security, it's a little bit less good, just because it's only minus 12k, but that's such a minor downside, and quite frankly, it's never in my security. It's always in my hand. But between the two of them, it means that I'm a lot more often able to get out of weird situations, especially when the opponent is expecting me to use Marcus's and, like, bodies to remove their Digimon, or just to let their Digimon stand. It means that a lot of the time they'll let attacks through and let me swing and get some checks in and get some amount of card draw, or at least advantage out of evolutions, and then finish my turn, usually trying to maintain not giving them too much memory, but accepting that if I'm wiping their board and they have nothing in raising, then either one of these I'm okay with paying for, because they're not going to be able to swing on the crackback. They're going to need to spend most of their turn bringing stuff back up in raising and then pushing back out, unless it's hunters, in which case, if both of these are not that useful against hunters, just because they don't have anything that big. Heck, Heaven's Judgment is arguably better because I can clear a whole bunch of their stuff, but it's usually not a huge deal. A lot of the time, at least personally for me, the Hunters matchup is a lot more, I need to bait them to make bad plays. Or, not technically bad plays, but desperation plays. In particular, there was a Hunters match in round 5. I had 2 Hunters matches, but the round 5 opponent I remember the most. And they had done one of their searches. It was a Watchmaker who had shown 3 cards and they took Superior Mode. They had a Champ in raising, they had the Watchmaker they had just played, and a Tagaru. So no matter what I did, I knew they were going to 3. But that also meant that they have nothing under Tagaru, so they can't reduce cost. There's nothing on the field for me to accidentally have to kill with DP reduction. So I'm looking at it going, I know that I need to bait them into using that superior mode before they're ready for it. Because the superior mode wouldn't have enough sources to do his free swings. So I went up into a ShineGreymon because I knew that that meant that now they have to play out a tamer burning all of the memory that they'll have, and from there, all they'll be able to do is remove my ShineGreymon. And they'll give me 4 to do it, which means I just get to build back up for free for an entire turn. And they still won't have enough memory to play out anything terribly scary or get a 4th tamer. And worst case, they get a 4th tamer, use Watchmaker to give superior mode an extra security check, but that's still only 2 security checks off of this superior mode who's just not that scary. Like, personally, that's where I think a lot of the Hunters matchup comes into, is you need to bait out some of their plays, like making them waste a superior mode, because the Shine is a threat, but it's not as big a threat as sometimes it looks like it's going to be. And even if it is big threat, it's still, well, they had to remove it, so kind of similar thing with, I had matches against, let's see here, Hunters, Red Hybrid, Mirage, Shine, Second Hunters, Crossheart, issue with opponent, they didn't have time so couldn't play, Bloom Hydra, and Mervaloop. And admittedly, several of those are aggro decks, so the Final Shining Burst and Heaven's Judgment didn't matter a ton. I tell a lie. One of them saved me against the Red Hybrid, because it enabled me to keep their, basically keep them off of having tamers consistently. Because their game 3, I believe it was, they kept having solid setup, but they were only ever able to maintain like a tamer at a time, and not able to maintain the on-deletion effects that let them grab Takuyas out of trash. So they would have to go up into Emperor Grey to kill whatever I had set up, because I set it up so that they would have to kill it. And then I could rebuild in Raising, set myself up a little bit, and then use Heaven's Judgment or Final Shining Burst to take out their Emperor Grey, set them back on the back foot, knowing full well that they couldn't get their tamer back, and since I didn't swing into security, I didn't even risk setting them up with new tamers. Yeah, I really think that especially these two are just better than, what's it called? Sunrise Buster, unless you're running the TKs, which I'm not, because again, I think that BO is better than Agu X in a red-based deck, because she enables us to search for everything in here that isn't an option, and Ruin Mode, but I think the one of Ruin Mode is just too useful. It really screws up some opponents' plays. I still wish I'd done 4 of the BT12 Geo Gray instead of the 3 and 3 that I've got here, and I still can't tell you if I'd prefer to swap this to 4 and 2 or keep with the 3 and 3, but I'm going to be really sad if this gets hit too badly tomorrow, because I don't think this deck is busted, but I do think that it is a lot of fun to play, and I love making my absolute idiot punch children do the swings for me instead of the Digimon just sit here and make everything possible and swing for lethal. But yeah, I just so enjoy this deck. I hope it doesn't get hit too hard, and I hope you all enjoy. This is so goofy. Anyway, yeah, I'm Fen. You know what, here, let's do the smart thing and jump over to this screen, what I have for this such. Thank you very much for watching this deck profile. Like I said, the full stream should be up in 3 hours from time of recording, give or take how long that actually takes. This, as well as all of my streams, brought to you by folks who support my Patreon and Coffee. Thank you very much to April, Fragile Paper, Pinball Witch, Yalc, and Pimento. You can find everything that I do over at beacons.ai/layeroflore or go to fenoflore.com. All these places down below, Twitter, Blue Sky, Patreon. There's probably something I'm forgetting. Like I said, beacons.ai/layeroflore and fenoflore.com, where you can find everything, including invites to the Discord and such. I stream over on twitch.tv/layeroflore way too much. I believe this entire week is mostly Lies of P, but I also run a local stream for arguably the largest local scene in Colorado. Every Friday, starting at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. I'll be maybe running this deck, I haven't decided, at the... Who's running the regional this Saturday? Whoever's running that regional, I'll be playing and streaming all of that until I get knocked out. Yeah. Thank you all very much. I hope you've enjoyed, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. I'm gonna have to also go do another one of my top 16 rundown write-up things. Yeah, if you like Digimon written work, I also do that over on fenoflore.com. Though it's been a little light lately because I don't care about Ultimate Cups, at least not this current format of them. Hope you all have a great time, day, night, whatever time zone it is for y'all when you're watching this. Bye!